Hey everybody, it's Conscious Medium Brandon Ross. Thank you again for tuning in. Today we're going to take a look at Vladimir Putin and also Volodymyr Zelensky. It's funny, I'm conditioning myself to say the names properly. We're going to take a look at them on March 14th, 2022. I've seen a lot of requests to do some chart comparison on kind of a day-to-day update sort of thing. So this is an update on the Ukraine conflict, so to speak. And we're going to take a look at the two powers to be in Zelensky and Putin and kind of how they pair off today. I'm going to make this a short video, so stay tuned. I hope you stay for the whole thing. Hey everybody, Conscious Medium Brandon Ross. Thank you so much again for joining me on this quick video. I just want to remind you, thank you for the likes and subscribes and sharing around the world. Support us as we support the Ukraine refugees. Purchase our EMPATH Rising gear, wear, t-shirts, sweatshirts, what have you. And 15% of our profits actually go to the Be Strong Foundation. They're helping the Ukrainian refugees on a daily basis. I want to get right to the charts here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for the love and the support. So what you do when you take a look at two opposing sides is that you take the astrological chart of where they are today. So this is March 15th. March 14th. Hi, how you doing? English still is my second language. To walk into this and say, okay, well, we've got Vladimir Putin and then Volodymyr Zelensky, kind of clashing together. Remember that old song, Two Tribes? It's a great song by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Relax, don't do it. I'm not going to go over what that song's about. But I am going to say Two Tribes, go look it up. It's a really great song. I cannot believe Five Finger Death Punch hasn't redone it, quite frankly. It's kind of that kind of cool of a song. But anyways, I want to dive right into the charts. So you take a look at both of the charts and you kind of put them up together. So this is what the two of them are looking at personally, individually today, right? So it's interesting because Putin's stuff is all... He's at the crossroads of karmatic exchange and a little bit of his own undoing. So he's got, I'm just going to point out a couple of aspects here. You've got Saturn that's in opposition of Pluto. Saturn, of course, about his structure. Pluto about the power base, that sort of thing. He is in conflict right here. Don't make any mistake about it. Then you have Saturn in opposition with Lilith. Now Lilith is kind of that healing, feminine energy, understanding how the world works, that sort of thing. He's just like, he's trying to be a dude through the whole thing. Here comes the Saturn conjunction with the North Node. This has to do with his karmatic value. So here comes his structure being turned upside down and in opposition with the 10th house. We're going to talk about the 10th house quite a bit, right? So his Saturn is in opposition. You take a look at Zelensky right across the board here. Look about 2/3 of the way down. Saturn is in conjunction with his 10th house. It's also trine with his ascending. Ugh, what does this mean to everybody? Well, let me just smile and say to you that Zelensky is in is kind of sort of in his prime right here. Zelensky is kind of, and again, I'm talking about this in karmatic. And, he's an ascending Gemini, Zelensky is. So he really does kind of want peace on Earth. He really does. So for him to kind of have his Saturn be trine, he really does want equality, right? And he really does want to get there. Now, the Saturn conjunct, this is just so interesting, right? Their Saturns are in opposition, guys. So their structure and their construct of who they are and what they're about. So Saturn is about your structure, your social structure, your home structure. It branches out, right? You have your personal structure, those are your boundaries, and you have your family, your home, your career, that sort of thing. So you kind of go out and then you get into the, social norms and that sort of thing. They're like this. Putin is trying to say, like, we are going to go to war. And then Zelensky's kind of saying, like, you, us? Why? What are you doing? What are you doing here? And again, I'm gonna absolutely say this, and I've been criticized, and thank you, social media content. By the way, you definitely get more bees with honey with me. I love constructive criticism, and I want to thank people that say, hey, you know, Vlad is kind of short for something else. You don't want to say that. Thank you very much. Those of you that say, hey, you've got a little thing with your lighting. You might want to try this. Love the videos. Thank. I'm going to respond to that. I'm going to pay attention to it. I'm just going to say it like this. I'm not trying to be political. I'm looking at the charts, but I'm here to tell you the social, economic, and world conditions at hand are playing out in these charts. Their karmatic balance is literally hanging here. And right now, on March 15th, holy crap. Let's go back to the board. So you've got, sorry, I'm just going to keep plugging myself. You have Zelensky, who is conjunct with his 10th house. Now, the 10th house is about your career, what you're known for, right? He's bringing forth a new understanding of what this is. The amount of Ukrainian pride right now is through the roof. There are old women fighting this battle with him. He has changed the social structure. Remember in the video about Putin will fail? The biggest thing was that his pride was going to get in the way, and he's underestimating. He's overplaying his hand. Right? Now, just kind of top to bottom here with Zelensky, his Venus is conjunction with the sun sign. Don't forget his sun sign. He is an Aquarius. He is all about the humanitarian effort. His love of country, all of that is coming in. His Venus is trine with his North Node. Further down, his Mars is trine with his North Node again. So you've got a conjunction going on with Mars and Venus. Guess what? He's going to battle for love. When two tribes go to war. Jupiter being trine to Uranus and then square to Neptune. There's a lot of emphasis in terms of like, what's the outcome here? What's the new reality coming in? And then I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Pluto and Mars are in opposition for him, right? So he's all about kind of uncovering this. So I'm gonna emphasize a few more things here with Pluto and Lilith, and certainly the 10th house. Again, I appreciate you guys with your likes and subscribes. I'm trying to kind of do this on the fly, but it's kind of cool. All right, so this is a chart compared to the two of them. So what we just looked at was, this is your individual, this is your inner self here, right? That's what we saw in the last one. This one here is when we take those two and we go, boop, all right, why are these two together? You can do this for couples. You can take a look at this for work situations. I'm going to be doing some media stuff about the personality and the natal charts of businesses. You know, even businesses have living, breathing content to them, right? And then they're going to go through cycles. When is a good time? When isn't a good time? What are the things that work well with them? I do a lot of organizational management work with companies, and we take a look at the chart, and we take a look at who would fit their chart from a personality standpoint. It's a thing, everybody. It's a thing. I'm busy all the time. And by the way, click through, and you can schedule me directly. If you follow the Linktree page, we've got some things updated. We had to switch over from an old system. What a time to change. And I'll be having more videos about that. But let's take a look at this, about the two of them coming together here. So just on a really kind of quick look on this, I'm going to point out a couple of things. First of all, you've got Zelensky on the left, Putin on the right. Sun is trying to moon. Guys, I'm going to say this to you right now. That really indicates Putin's actually beginning to respect Zelensky. I'm not saying he loves him. I'm just saying there's a lot of respect there. Right? And then the sun is coming in on his rising sign. Well, this square here is, you have his Aquarius and then Putin's rising in Scorpio. Guess what? This is him exposing him. This square is like, yeah, let's just kind of see this thing here. Oh, not as strong as you think, eh? Listen, I'm not saying Putin isn't doing unprecedented damage with his armies. Get out of Ukraine. Really, seriously. I'm not excusing Ukraine for its past behaviors. It wasn't Zelensky, though. I'm going to tell you that right now. Zelensky wouldn't do half of the crap that 20 years ago Ukraine didn't. You finally have an incredible leader, and that's what threatens Putin here, by the way. Somebody that actually stands up for themselves. Further down the line here, we look at the moon conjunct with Pluto. Oh, by the way, the whole Saturn thing, this is a real structure thing. This is a real structure of reality, right? So when you look at the moon being sextile with Saturn, there is a real compassion thing coming in for Putin to look at. Putin is actually having empathy for the Ukrainian people right here. And again, this is an astrological chart. This is not necessarily, he might be denying it, but the influence in the stars are saying, don't you see how strong these people are? Why are you turning them into enemies? If Putin was really worth his salt, he'd be sitting at a table right now, shaking hands, saying, we're kind of sort of one people, aren't we? Yeah, I'll call you out. And by the way, I'll go here. This isn't national pride, but when it comes to the sovereignty of a nation, if anyone were ever to invade my hometown and say, yeah, we're now this, we would be knocking out the windows with whatever we have. We'd be throwing the same thing the Ukrainian people are doing. And that's why they're appealing to people. And by the way, we're not excusing the fact that Ukraine had some shady shit for the past 25 years. Shady shit. But it wasn't Zelensky. That's where I'm talking about. In this chart, this is why there's a purity to Zelensky. And again, I'm not, this isn't a love fest. This isn't a man crush. I'm looking at his chart and I'm realizing he is the exact person to deliver a karmatic debt to Putin. I'm also here to tell you Zelensky was 100% made for this moment. Putin overplayed his hand. His hand is in the cookie jar right now. Do you know why? Because I take a look at what's going on with the moon. Look at all the influence of the moon, of Zelensky's moon, on his Saturn. Empathy. Conjunct with Pluto. Hey, we're going to show you that the Ukrainian people are not bad. The conjunct with Lilith. We're going to rip the Band-Aid off and make you do and face the things that you've always needed to face. The moon in opposition with the North Node. This is a karmatic partnership you cannot deny. These two were meant to be there. The moon conjunct with the 10th house in the midheaven. Jesus, could there be any more serendipity than what you're looking at right here? The two of them. Zelensky is meant to show Putin his karmatic debt, his karmatic outcome. By the way, I'm not predicting who wins a war here anymore. What I'm doing is showing you that Putin had damn well better pay attention, because his reincarnation, whatever your belief system is, your reward in heaven, your reincarnation, your karmatic debt, your energetic value after you leave your meat suit, it's on the line for Putin right here. And Zelensky is giving him every opportunity to learn it. Venus trine to the moon. Well, there he is. Kind of now he's appealing to Putin's moon, right? And then you have Venus square into the first house. Venus and Mars in conjunction, it's square in his first house. He's showing him how much he doesn't like war. And then the Jupiter opposition to Mars is just, I'm just going to shorten that up and just say, yeah, it's war. War is hell. Further down on the chart, you've got Saturn. And again, focusing on Saturn a little bit, trine with Mars. This is basically showing that Zelensky, and Zelensky's on the left, Putin's on the right, that Saturn, that the structure of war doesn't work, and that their resolve is strong. That's really what that means. The Uranus conjunct with Venus. I'm not going to get too much into the Uranus stuff. I might do that as this wanes on and drops down, but I want to take a look at the Pluto conjunct with Sun, so it kind of goes both ways, right? So here's the dynamic with this. When Pluto gets involved, right, Pluto kind of having this dire influence of being able to get into transformation. It's changing the power base, right? So that's what you have to think of whenever you think of Pluto, right? Well, it's conjunct with the Sun, right? It's a life lesson. It's conjunct with Saturn. What structure are you going to have moving forward, right? Then you also have it square with Uranus and Neptune. I'm not avoiding Neptune and Uranus, but I just think for the sake of where they're at today, that's going to be an influence. I mean, Uranus being about the rebellion, your eccentricity, and then Neptune being your imagination. I mean, basically in a nutshell, if you just want to kind of go here with this, Pluto in the power base going square with Uranus is kind of like, I see a rebellion and I raise you an armored tank division. Right? That's kind of sort of what's going on. Then you have Pluto square or conjunct with Neptune, which is kind of like, oh, your dreams are being exposed. Like, it's kind of like, nice try, Dreamster. Listen, every single political analyst, every single military and logistic analyst that's taken a look at this looks at what Putin is doing and literally going, you may take Kiev. You may even take 2/3 of the country. But you cannot occupy because you don't have the manpower. You're just on this, like, it's kind of like sacrificing pawns all the way through a chess game. That's great. What are you left with? The rook, the king, and like a bishop that can just go back and forth? That's basically how they've described what Putin is doing. He won't have a whole lot left. This is exposing the fact that he thought to himself, I'm going to go ahead and take over the world. Don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole. Lilith trying to his first house, again, this is the influence to kind of say, like, hey, my dark shit's going to uncover your dark shit. How do you like that? So when you have that trying to it, it's kind of like, it's just like ripping the Band-Aid off and going, when somebody goes, yeah, you know what, you stole a candy bar from the grocery store. And then the next person escalates it and says, oh yeah, well, you have a tattoo and your tramp stamp. And then the other one turns back and goes, I know that you go to that strip club. Oh, okay. Hey, here's a picture that you posted all over the internet and everybody can see your naked hoo-ha. That's the escalation of that. I hope you like my analogies. Like and subscribe. So then you have this, all of this action in the first house. There's influence on Neptune trine. It's kind of a gentler exposure, if you will. Oh, this is the one I really want to point out. So Zelensky, again on the left, on the ascended, is trine with Mercury. He is really trying to communicate. And by the way, Mercury, this is the only spot where Mercury is here. There's no negotiation at the table right now. None. There's none. There's like would you like to get together and talk? Yeah, I'll call you back. Click. That's what's going on. Right? This is the only hope that we have for communication. And it is Zelensky's way of saying, as a Gemini rising, coming into Putin's Mercury. And by the way, I haven't memorized everything. I'm so sorry. So sorry. Did not mean to offend you, Anna. The dynamic for communication is a big thing, right? You have a world, you have a world issue here, right? So, and by the way, I'm pausing here a little bit because I just want to make sure I have, so he's Mercury in Libra, Putin is. So this is a thinking man's communication. By the way, this is where air is on air because you've got Gemini and Libra, and being trine is in like, Gemini's going to kind of try and communicate. Like, can't you? And Zelensky could run the risk of being a little bit of a pity party here, and saying like, "What are you doing to my people?" And then Putin's response would be like, "I don't think we are doing anything wrong." That's trouble for negotiation. Just to let you know. By the way, Putin doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. He is justified in his own brain. And again, I'm not trying to be political. I'm not trying to make anybody look like an enemy. I'm not trying to make anybody look like a hero. But if you think that there's a neo-Nazi regime in Ukraine run by someone who is Jewish, you don't even fact check yourself. And we dealt with this for about 4 years in the United States. Pros and cons to that. We had a front row seat to it. It's not healthy. It's just not healthy. And I'm not being political. I just, as the human, when you look at the human, by the way, the Trump video is coming later on this week. Not that I'm talking about him, but I'm talking about him. It's not healthy. It's not a good look. It's not the person you want taking you to the airport. It's not the person that you want to go like, where's the button? I just want to touch it. No. All right, anyways, want to wrap this up here. A couple of other things here. In the 10th heaven. In the 10th house, the midheaven. I'll just mix all the words together. Square into Jupiter. Well, guess what? That's a go big or go home situation. Right? That is him coming in. That is Zelensky coming in saying, I'm here for your lesson. It's going to be big. Trying to Saturn, he's able to get into his structure and redesign it a little bit. Opposition into Pluto. Again, I know I'm skipping here. Opposition to Lilith. This is where the lessons are, everybody. In Zelensky's 10th house, landing squarely on the North Node right here. This is the karmatic exchange. This is going to be very public. And it's going to be a constant exchange. So where things are at today, everybody, first of all, we definitely want peace in the world. That's why we have Empath Rising. Where we're at today is kind of a little bit of a stalemate. But what there is hope for is Vladimir Putin is literally going through a come to Jesus meeting with himself. He might not be willing to reach across the aisle quite yet. Zelensky is steadfast. Zelensky is also very sure of himself and confident in his mission. Putin is starting to second guess it. All right, guys, that is March 14th. Due to the requests, I'm going to actually probably put another one of these out in a couple of days, maybe on Thursday, Friday, 17th, 18th. I think that gives a little bit of time to kind of percolate. And I'm going to look, first thing I'm going to do is actually watch this video and then look forward and kind of look at news and events and kind of see how they come together. Remember to support us on the channel with the Empath Rising. If you're looking for a personal reading, which I do, go ahead and click on the link below. The link tree will bring you to everything. Also, my classes, the complete astrology class, I'm seeing people come in from all over the world. Thank you. You only have a little bit of time to sign up for the discounted rate. Make sure you jump into that now. And yes, the complete astrology class is recorded. It is also interactive if you can get there live, and you also get all of the material. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email. You can see it in all the content stuff below. Thanks so much. And remember, we're going to give each other the heart tap, tell each other we care and love for one another as we remind one another to just keep going. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks again.